Welcome back. Now, the Deputy Upper West Regional Chief Imam of Alusana Wayamat, Sheikh Ahmed Yaqub Siddiq, has issued a stark warning about the region's future, citing the growing abuse of illicit drugs, particularly tramadol among the youth. He cautioned that if urgent action is not taken, drug abuse could derail the region's young generation, jeopardizing their potential as future leaders. Sheikh Ahmed Yaqub made these remarks during a courtesy visit by Upper West Regional Minister, Lawyer Porzin Charles Lawanga, to the Alusuna Wayamat in Wa. JoyNews Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
One key concern raised by religious and opinion leaders, particularly Muslim clerics in the Upper West region, which was brought to the fore for the attention and action of the Upper West Regional Minister, Lawyer Porzin Charles Lawanga, was the increasing abuse of illicit drugs in the region. Deputy Chief Imam of the Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, Sheikh Ahmed Yaqub Siddiq, lamented about the high intake of abusive drugs, warning of a gloomy future in the next 10 years if proactive measures are not taken to tackle it.
The drug abuse is becoming rampant, and we look at it and say that I don't know what will happen in Upper West here for the coming 10 years, what will happen, whether we can get a future leaders or not. When you see them, it's very pathetic. It's very pathetic. So we talk, but who listen? And we need a political hand, a government hand, a support with the Narcotics Control Board, Food and Drugs Board, with our brothers police and our brothers army officers to put our hands together. If no, tomorrow, coming 10 years, I think that the psychiatric unit will be full. It will be full. Yes, and Kodaboni also will be full. Wallah, it's not easy. I don't sleep early. You move after 12. You think that people are not sleeping. Then now people you will see in town, you will not think that they are from here. And even most of them, the funny thing, are underage.
Lawyer Porzin agreed Hukline and Sinka with the Deputy Imam of the Al-Sunnah wal Jama'at, disclosing that they have received similar reports from the Narcotics Control Commission, which the Upper West Regional Security Council he chairs will keep on the front burner to find an antidote to. He calls for support from the people to help deal with the issue.
And my appeal is to all citizens of Upper West, our chiefs, our limans, our religious leaders, the tendambes, that when these directives and or actions are being taken, please, we need your support positively, not negatively. Negatively in the sense that we don't want people to come begging the security officials or the minister that this person is a relative, it's a brother, kindly release the person. We would like the law to deal with these persons so that in the end we will all be safe. Because the young or the youth below 18 years are now doing as a habit, and it's a daily affair, and it's deteriorating our young men and women.
The Upper West Regional Minister earlier met leadership of the local council of churches and the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission in the Upper West region to seek their support and guidance for a successful tenure. Both religious groups pledged to give him and the government their maximum support and guidance to help him succeed. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
Now, guests on JoyNews analysis program, these file are united in their call for a national attention to the proliferation of illegal drugs in the country. Already, government has stepped up surveillance at Ghana's borders to stop the entry of highly addictive opioid drugs. This follows a BBC investigation that uncovered the illegal export of dangerous opioids by Indian pharmaceutical company Avio to Ghana, Nigeria, and Cote d'Ivoire. On these files, CDD fellow Dr. Kwame Sapon-Asiedu, private legal practitioner Angela Dramina, Minister of State in charge of government communication Felix Kwachio-Fosu, and Bobby Bunsen called for a committee to investigate the menace.
When a medicine comes in, a medicine strictly is a red channeled product. So the FDA have to be informed and NACOC has to be informed. That those containers got out of our ports without the know of NACOC of FDA means that there is some level of complicity from the customs, because the drug didn't go through the right channel. That tells me that there isn't enough collaboration between the agencies that are supposed to secure our drug supply chain. Because for starters, the product went through the wrong route, and that shouldn't happen to a medicine. That tells me that there's a serious leak at our ports of entry when it comes to medicines entry. It's pretty straightforward. And the other thing that went through my mind was that they have criminal accomplices in West Africa and in Ghana in particular. Because Samson, don't get me wrong, the quantity of drug that is coming in, like the containers that were in transit, cannot be imported by the peddlers that you find on the streets.
That's
in
right.
Temali. They cannot be imported by the people you find on the Galamsey side. They are people who are bringing these products in. And they are bringing it in for one reason only, to compromise our security. If you ask your production, I've refused to speak on this for a long time. It took them up to Wednesday to get me to speak. The reason was that we've been talking about this for 10 years, and it's very widespread. In 2019, for example, when like Bevlolate was then the African coordinator for counterterrorism, I had over a 2-hour conversation with him on these products. If you look, the FDA has intercepted some of these products in over-the-counter shops and on drug peddlers as far back as 2022, 2023.
We have our constitutional provisions about protection of children in Article 28. We have our Children's Act that talks about the state's responsibility towards protection of children and youth. What do we do with these things? We need to understand that the youth are the ones that are falling through the cracks, and we must take this as seriously as Galamsey. In fact, I'm thinking that if you take Galamsey as the number one problem, this should be the number two, because of the impact of the drugs, and secondly, because of the connections to the other illegalities, cyber crimes, money laundering, human trafficking, and all other kinds of illegal substances that are coming alongside this particular trade. And so it isn't something that we need to take lightly at all. I'm thinking that there needs to be some kind of immediate interministerial, I get weary of committees, but sometimes they are necessary. Not just a committee, a working task force that will bring the different agencies together and have a level of response that takes it from the national to the local, because already there is local community organizing, but I think it needs to be guided.
There's a matter that requires the highest levels of governmental attention. And indeed, the President alluded to it in his State of the Nation address, that he is following closely how the appropriate authorities handle this matter. And that where...
Angela said he should just not follow.
But what I mean is that it is agencies and the government that will look into the matter. We must allow them to do their work. I believe they have capacity to do that work. As and when the work concludes and there's reason for government to take further action, trust that President Mahama will do so. Indeed, he alluded to it in the State of the Nation address, and it shows the level of agency that he attaches to the matter. It is worrying, and all of us, I guess, have a role to play in ensuring that we defeat this canker.
Looking at the other side, the victims, as Dr. Angela referred to, I think there could be a cause of action on their behalf, public interest litigation.
Okay.
This company that is saying it is not them. Because my little knowledge of the customs, because these, they said they were not brought through porous borders, they were imported. And so any RTI request will let us have the names that appear on the bills of lading.
Correct.
There's no payment that is done at the port that is cash. So the bank account from where the payment was made to the customs officers, we could trace these sources. We can follow the money,
right,
and know who the beneficiaries are.
I think we should also descend to the community levels. Who and who are the major stakeholders? Parents, teachers. Now we are losing our sense of, and even education. Now parents leave the house, leaving the kids sleeping. By the time they come home, the kids have left after school, and they sleep even before their kids.
Right.
So I think these activities must be revisited in our localities, where other parents can even parent other kids.
Welcome back. Now, the Member of Parliament for Abuakwa South constituency, Dr. Kingsley Agyeman, has expressed deep concern over the increase in cases of upper respiratory conditions in his constituency. He attributes the rise to severe air pollution caused by deteriorating state of roads in parts of the constituency. Dr. Agyeman, however, warned that health condition of constituents could worsen if the issue remains unaddressed. He raised the concern in Parliament as he filed an urgent question to the Minister of Roads regarding the matter. There's more in the following report.
While questioning the Minister of Roads in Parliament about his ministry's readiness to address deteriorating roads, the MP for Abuakwa South constituency, Dr. Kingsley Agyeman, raised concerns over the rising cases of upper respiratory disorders in the area. He attributes this surge to severe air pollution caused by the poor state of roads, including Esikem Nkroso, Asafo Masi Old Tafo, and Kyebi Apampam Old Roads.
I seek to ask the Minister plans for the completion of the following stored bitumen surfacing road projects in the Abuakwa South constituency. 1. The Esikem Town Road. 2. Nkroso Town Road. 3. Asafo Town Road. 4. Asafo Masi Old Tafo Road. And the last one, Kyebi Apapam Labikrom Road. As you may be aware, multi-mobility index in Ghana has increased very tremendously. And one of the key factors has to do with upper respiratory disorders. I'm seeking your kind attention that because this has to do with bitumen resurfacing, it means that the top surface of the road has been scratched and there's a lot of dust in the area. I crave your indulgence that please keep a very good eye on these roads for the people of Abuakwa South.
However, Minister of Roads Governs Kwame Agboja explained that road projects in the constituency have stalled due to the government's inability to pay contractors. He, however, assured of his ministry's readiness to intervene.
The Esikem Town roads have been awarded under the contract title Upgrading of Asafo Masi Road and others, 29.3 kilometers to bituminous surfacing. The works commenced on the 25th of September 2024 for completion of 24th March 2026. Kyebi Apapam to Labikrom Road. The Kyebi Apapam Labikrom Road is a 14-kilometer road. It is located in the Abuakwa South Municipality of Eastern Region. Current program. The Kyebi Apapam Labikrom Road, Afida Road, was awarded in 2 phases. Phase 1, upgrading of Kyebi Apapam Labikrom Road, kilometer 0 to 7. Phase 2, upgrading of Kyebi Apapam Labikrom Road, kilometer 7 to 14. Phase 1, contract commenced on 21st of May 2020, and completion date was expected to be 14th of September 2023, which has since elapsed. The progress of work is estimated at 50.77 physical completion. The contractor is currently not on site and works are stalled. An injunction has been placed on the contract due to delay in payment.
The MP, Dr. Kingsley Agyeman, also urged the Minister of Roads to prioritize the swift completion of these projects to help reduce the rising cases of respiratory conditions in the constituency. For JoyNews, Carlos Kaloni, Accra.
Now, the Upper West Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Damien Punyuri, has commended a non-government organization for working to improve the quality of health delivery in the Upper West region. Speaking at a short ceremony where the NGO donated 8 tricycle ambulances valued at 950,000 Ghana cedis to the outfit for onward delivery to some deprived communities in 3 districts in the region to deliver emergency health transportation services to the people. He noted that the community ambulances are not coming to take the place of the National Ambulance Service, but to complement the effort to deliver quality health care to the people. JoyNews Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam report from Wa.
The 8 community tricycle ambulances valued at 975,000 Ghana cedis, according to the Executive Director of Community Development Alliance, Isif Salif Kanton, were procured under the Ghana Country Innovation Program, funded by the Stars and Global Health, Grandchildren Canada. The Innovate for Health project seeks to complement the effort of the Ghana Health Service in improving emergency health for mothers, pregnant and newborns living in deprived areas who have difficulty in accessing emergency transportation when in need during critical times.
So this project is a 16-month project. We are already 4 months down the line. And under this project, we are supporting various, about 12 communities, 8 in the Upper West and 4 in the Savannah region, with emergency transportation services, and also helping train community members who would help administer emergency transport services to their own community members as volunteers. So this week we've started some series of training for the community emergency transport committees and also the community emergency transport riders. So the training started yesterday with the support of Ghana Ambulance Service, the Ghana Health Service, and staff of CDA, which will end today. And after today, we think that it's important we just hand over the vehicles so that they will be delivered at the respective communities.
Civil Salvo Canton spoke of the make and components in the Tricycle ambulances.
The ambulances, even though we said our community ambulances, were designed at least to reflect what you should expect in a normal ambulance. So you would find in the ambulances a very decent stretcher, which you find in every ambulance. You would find a sitting place for the nurse or the clinician that will be accompanying the patient so that he can sit and take care of the patient. If there's a relative of the patient who is also in the ambulance, the seat is enough to accommodate both of them. There's a first aid box component there that can keep some basic first aid to manage the patient along the referral journey. And we have also included an oxygen cylinder. So in case the patient has breathing difficulties along the referral journey, that can also be activated to keep the patient alive. So this is what you would find in the ambulance. They have a set of tools and spare parts, and we have a fan to keep the ambulance a bit, the temperature at a level that will keep the patient in comfort. And so they are designed to fit our rural terrain.
He used the opportunity to dispel rumors going around in social media about the Tricycle ambulances being ambulances acquired by the new Mahama administration.
So I just want to use this opportunity to dispel the misinformation which has gone viral. If you go on TikTok right now, it's probably one of the most trending news that these are Mahama ambulances versus Akufo-Addo ambulances. There is no such thing. These are designed purposely to help address a need. And the need is to help ensure that we all contribute to making our primary healthcare delivery system much efficient, particularly when it comes to health emergencies.
Our Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Damian Puwiri, who received the community Tricycle ambulances on behalf of the Acting Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Samuel Kaba Akore, commended Community Development Alliance for the delivery, pledging to use them judiciously.
These ambulances, community-based ambulances, are not coming to replace the National Ambulance Service. And that is why you see the National Ambulance Service staff here with us. We are working as a team. But the innovation has come to address a critical gap needs within the service. I've gone around so many communities in this region, and especially in the rainy season, I get to a spot where I can no longer move, and I have to call for a motorbike to take me to the next community. And all these communities have people living there. They have health facilities there. I want to assure all of you here that the ambulances will be put to good use. That is why the drivers are being trained. The CHMCs are being trained. There's no way we can see this ambulance carrying charcoal, and we are allowed that. We are all going to be part of it, or carrying ordinary passengers. Let's watch over them. Let's take care of them to ensure that they last.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Well, the West African Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO, has announced the successful and safe completion of essential pipeline maintenance activities, marking the resumption of gas transportation services across Ghana, Togo, and Benin. This is expected to stabilize power supply in Ghana and other nations that rely on the pipeline. Now, the comprehensive maintenance project, which spanned 4 weeks, included a range of critical tasks such as offshore pipeline cleaning, inspection, subsea value replacement, and other vital works across multiple locations in Ghana, Togo, Benin, and Nigeria. Director of Corporate Affairs with WAPCO, Dr. Isaac Doku, tells JoyNews that Takoradi and Tema gas plant will receive gas in a few days.
Yes, that's exactly right. At the beginning of the whole process, as I did explain, we sent some instruments through the pipeline that we call the pipeline inspection gauges, the PICs. And so the 4-week duration was based on the number of PICs that we're going to send through the pipeline and the estimated number of days that they were going to take each traveling the 569 kilometers from our station in Badagry to Takoradi. We've estimated that each PIC was going to take between 4 to 5 days. And originally also, since we don't know the condition of the pipeline, we've estimated to run between 5 to 6 PICs to do the process. And so that 4 weeks was based on the total number of PICs. And again, also on the how long it's going to take the PIC to traverse the pipeline. I think the good news is that once we started running the PICs, we realized that with the pressure of the gas that is being used to push the PIC through the pipeline, we're averaging about 3.5 days for each PIC to travel from our Lagos Beach compression station all the way to Takoradi. And also, the other good news is that from the very first PIC to the last one, we saw that each of the PICs, there wasn't much debris and liquids within the pipeline. So that in itself was telling us that the pipeline is in a very good condition of operation. So these, I would say, are some of the factors that contributed. So in total, we actually ran, we ran 5 PICs, and each of those PICs took an average of, 3.5 days, not more than 3.5 days to actually move from the Lagos Beach compression station all the way to Takoradi. And on top of that also, there wasn't much liquid. In fact, there were no liquids at all that came out that the PICs pushed out of the pipeline. And also the debris that we had from the PICs pushing the debris through the pipeline was, less than 100 kilograms. So all in all, I think these are some of the factors that contributed to us finishing ahead of time.
Yeah, so Doc, so that means that even though you are done with the work and the gas flow has started, it will hit the Takoradi plant in the next 3 days. Is that what it is?
We actually started gas flow yesterday morning at 9 a.m. because the PIC arrived in the early hours of yesterday, around 3 a.m. in Takoradi. Once we take delivery of the PIC, what we do is that the consultants that analyze the data are out of country. Like I explained the last time, they are actually based in Brazil. So we have to download the data from the instrumentation inspection gauge and have it, sent electronically to the company in Brazil to see whether, with respect to the quality of the data that we have actually collected. And we have the affirmation that, yes, the data is of good quality and it can be analyzed for us to know the state of the pipeline. So once that information was received, straight away, we finished effectively the cleaning of the pipeline. We've collected the data that we wanted. And so we did resume gas flows. Yesterday, we started flowing gas to Tema yesterday at 9 a.m. in the morning. This morning at 6:15, if you know the unit of gas, we're flowing gas about nearly 150 million standard cubic feet a day to Tema. And later on today, we also resumed the reverse flow from Takoradi to Tema. So gas flows have already started in Ghana, Togo, and Benin.
Meaning basically, WAPCO is now in our energy mix.
Yes, as you know, WAPCO, we are a transportation company. So once we finish, we did notify the shippers, that is those that actually access to transport the gas on their behalf, and also the off-takers, those that need the gas for the power generation. So as soon as we receive the pig in the early hours of yesterday and we finish all the relevant testing, we send notification to the shippers and that they are able to resume their gas flows to their off-takers. So that started, I would say, yesterday, like I said, in Tema at 9 a.m.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Doku, for this update this afternoon. It's very important, especially as the country battles to deal with this intermittent power supply. Well, this addition, I mean, when the maintenance started, almost some megawatts of power were lost because of the gas curtailments. And now that everything is back to normal, that should stabilize electricity supply in the country. Is that not it?
Well, that is our expectation, but of course, as I always say, we are a gas transportation company. But of course, gas not going to Tema cuts off a lot of megawatts. And like the Honorable Minister explained last Friday when he did visit our plant, indicated that there were liquid fuels, but again, it was just to keep the whole national grid stable. So he did appeal, I believe, to Ghanaians to bear with them. Now that we finished with flowing the volumes that the shippers are bringing to us to take to their off-takers. And so the volume of gas is enough to generate more than, I'll say, what the liquid fuels were generating in Tema. So fingers crossed, hopefully this will contribute much more effectively to the energy security of the country.
Thank you so much, Dr. Duku. He is the...
Now, it's not all gloomy in the power sector because Early Power has now served notice of cutting its electricity supply to the Electricity Company of Ghana's due to the Electricity Company of Ghana's failure to settle an outstanding debt of over $48 million. Now, in a letter addressed to the acting managing director of ECG, the power company raised concern over ECG's default in payment. Managers of Early Power warned of severe financial repercussions for the power provider if these monies are not paid. Here is a Newsdesk report.
The letter, which also copied the Minister for Finance, the Minister for Energy and the Executive Secretary of the Public Utility Regulatory Commission and the board chairman, warned of severe financial repercussion for the power provider. This is because ECG breached the contractual agreement it entered with the power company. Under the agreement, ECG is to make a guaranteed monthly payment of $7 million for the initial deferral period ending in October 2024 and thereafter $7.5 million for the second deferral period. As at 20th December 2024, the $53 million ECG was expected to pay Early Power. Only $7.35 million was paid. As a result of ECG's default in payment, the seller finds itself in a precarious financial position and will not be able to meet its debt service obligation and operating cost, the company stated. Early Power has now issued a firm demand for the immediate settlement of the overdue amount, setting a deadline of 28 February 2025. The company warned that failure to meet the deadline will leave them with no choice but to invoke remedies available under the Power Purchase Agreement and the Power Combat Operation Agreement.
Now, the minority in Parliament has reiterated its defense of the Akufo-Addo of the state of the economy that was handed to President John Mahama by the Akufo-Addo government. Now, speaking on Newsfile, former Deputy Minister for Finance, Stephen Amwa, stated that the major economic indicators had improved when President Akufo-Addo was leaving office and even better than what was inherited in 2016.
We are saying that all the performance indicators, most of them, exonerate us and indicate that the economy that we left for them is far, much more stable and restored. I'm not saying there are no challenges. What you need to find out is that what constitutes a state or the state of economy or an economy. Where are the performance indicators, relevant ones? Because I'm talking about the GDP. I'm talking about agriculture. I'm talking about industry. I'm talking about services. I'm talking about primary balance. I'm talking about reserve. These are key.
All these things.
These are key.
What did the president speak about or give a figure about? That is not the current state of the economy.
But did the president give figures?
That's my question.
No, the president did not give figures, in my opinion, unless because sometimes you move out. Figures that were showing that the economy we left generally is better than what they also handed over to us.
So economy that is paying DDEP and it is saddled with it until 2020 what?
Can I explain this thing to you? DDEP is unfortunate. And I side with those who went through that unfortunate period. I mean the holders. But let me tell you, bring any professor in the world to debunk what I'm saying. When there's a holdout in this situation, okay, the only way out is to restructure the debt. Deal with the extension of the maturity date and the payment terms so you can make time to pay. But it is very unpalatable to the victims or the bondholders all over the world. It's not only Ghana it has happened.
Meanwhile, the Minister of State in charge of Government Communications, Felix Kwasi-Ofosu, rejected claims by the former Deputy Minister, insisting that the domestic debt exchange program is proof of the country's economic decline. He further stated that the upcoming budget presentation on March 11 will confirm that the economy inherited by the current administration is in a worse state than they left it in 2016.
Not only did the president miss the constitutional obligation, he actually inspired hope in those who were looking for something beyond just indicating what he came to meet. Samson, let me also put it on record that if my brother here tells you that this economy we inherited is better than the one we left them to existing, it is a palpable untruth. Look, even at a visceral level, what you feel in your gut, that alone is sufficient to tell everybody that this economy is rotten to the core. Samson, we have only recently engaged in domestic debt exchange, which is the harshest economic policy ever implemented under the Fourth Republic, if not the entire history of Ghana. They took 1.3 million people through excruciating hardships by telling them that money that they were expecting to receive from government after having bought bonds were not going to come. They were going to reduce drastically the interest rate that they had agreed with government, and they were going to extend the maturities. This took 1.3 million people through hell, including Kama. You remember his lamentation on a public platform. May God rest his soul. So even at a visceral level, everybody who has lived in this country knows that this economy cannot be better than what they inherited in 2016. Now let's look at the figures. Sometimes there's good reason why the president did not dwell on all the economic indicators. There are about 18 of them. In due course, on 11th March, when the finance minister presents his budget, he will go into details about the specific indicators. If you take out the growth rates, all the rest are worse than what they inherited.
Now, the Roads and Highways Minister Kwame Govins-Agbodza has stated before Parliament that the total debt in the road sector amounts to some 21,660,270 Ghana cedis. He further elaborated that these debts will cover certificate from 2018 to 2024, not taking into account the interest that has been accrued to delayed payments.
21 billion 2,660,270 and 52 pesos. That is what is on record as now. Mr. Speaker, I must put on record. Can you take the number figures again? 21 billion 2,660,270 cedis and 52 pesos. The breakdown of this debt is as follows. Consolidated fund projects, 15,339,887,294 cedis and 92 pesos. Ghana Road Fund projects, 5,662,000,000 772,975 cedis and 60 pesos. These pending debts cover payment certificates from 2018 to 2024. It is worth noting that these debts do not include interest accrued to delayed payment. And Mr. Speaker, on record, the interest on delayed payment can go as high as 50% or even 100% on some of the projects. In November 2019, 1.2 billion was borrowed from syndicated banks to finance the road maintenance. However, the Ghana Road Fund still owe contractors bills dating as far back as 2018, some as low as 2,000 Ghana cedis. At the close of 2024, outstanding commitment in the road sector representing unexecuted contracts segment were estimated at 103 billion and 500 million. Exclusive of adjustments for variations on contracts which are yet to be agreed. The sector is further challenged by numerous contracts awarded with insufficient financial planning, often lacking the mandatory commencement warrant as stipulated by the Public Financial Management Act.
Now, President John Dramani Mahama has cautioned the Hajj pilgrimage should not be treated as a profit-making venture, but rather as a religious and spiritual journey for Muslims. Speaking at the sword curtain ceremony for the new Hajj village on Friday, the president emphasized that any excess funds from the Hajj proceeds should be channeled into projects benefiting Zongo communities.
Airlift exactly 5,000 pilgrims to the Holy Land. And the task force has announced 13th March as the deadline for payment. We have facilitated a pre-finance arrangement with one of the local banks. And so I'm pleased as I speak to you to announce that all deposits for accommodation, transport, and other facilities have been paid. I've instructed the Hajj task force that they should cut off at exactly 5,000 and not go beyond 5,000. We don't want the previous situation where people rush with late payments and we are unable to airlift them and they come complaining. This year we set up a task force to manage the Hajj because after government took office, we realized that period between taking office and the Hajj was too close. And so we brought competent people together, headed by Alhaji Collins Dauda, as a task force to organize the Hajj for this year. After this year's Hajj, we'll constitute the Hajj board, and we will appoint the chairman of the Hajj board. I've instructed the task force that Hajj is not a business. Hajj is not meant for profit. The Hajj task force must not structure things in order to make a profit. We don't want a profit from Hajj. After the performance of Hajj, if there is even 1 CD left, that money should be donated to the poor or used for a project in the Muslim communities. His Eminence, the Chief Imam, eminent Muslim Ummah, I'm also happy to announce that I've instructed the legal counsel at the presidency, Madam Marietta Brew, to amend the Public Holidays Act to provide an extra holiday for the Muslim celebration of Eid al-Fitr. Therefore, beginning this year, there will be 2 days of holiday at the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Indeed, Allah reminds us in the Holy Quran, and I quote, it says, "Verily, the first house of worship appointed for mankind was that at Makkah, full of blessings and guidance for mankind and the jinn." And this is Surah Al-Imran, 3:96. And in another verse, and I wish to quote again, the Quran says, "And proclaim to mankind the Hajj. They will come to you on foot, on an every lean camel. They will come from very deep and distant mountain highways." And this is in Surah Al-Hajj, chapter 22, verse 27. Hajj is a spiritual journey of purification and a reaffirmation of our submission to the will of Allah. This journey begins with our 5 daily prayers, and it intensifies through the holy month of Ramadan and reaches its pinnacle in the rites of the Hajj. I've always told my father, the chief imam, that I pray that Allah spares his life so that he will see 2 things in his lifetime before he is called to Jannatul Firdaus. One of them was the construction of the National Mosque in Kanda, and I thank Allah that he spared his life to see that beautiful edifice. The second was the construction of a permanent Hajj village for pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. And today I thank Allah that our father is with us on this auspicious occasion. Since I came into public service, one of my greatest concerns has been ensuring that our Ummah embark on this sacred journey with dignity and in a conducive environment. And indeed, there's a hadith that states, "Indeed, Allah is beautiful," I quote, "and loves that which is beautiful," unquote.
The president has also announced that his government will soon reintroduce the Proper Family Bill to criminalize the promotion and practice of LGBTQ activities. Speaking at a meeting with the clergy in Accra at the Accra International Conference Center, he revealed that he is in discussion with the Speaker of Parliament to table the bill. The president reaffirmed his stance, emphasizing that marriage, as ordained by God, should be exclusively between a man and a woman. The move is expected to reignite national debate on human rights and cultural values.
I, as a Christian, uphold the principle and the values that only 2 genders exist, man and woman. And that a marriage is between a man and a woman. I've spoken with the Speaker so that a renewal of the expired Proper Family Values Bill should be a bill that is introduced by government rather than as a private member's motion. And it's my hope that that consultation would see a renewed Proper Family Values Bill. My brothers and sisters, I believe that our leadership must reflect the aspirations of the people that we govern, and on this I stand firm.
Well, the president emphasized that the government's top priority is stabilizing the economy, laying a strong foundation to fulfill the numerous promises he made to Ghanaians.
God gave me in Parliament, but I'm deeply mindful that there's only one Supreme Leader, and that is the Almighty God, and to him alone belongs all the glory, honor, and dominion forever. This victory is for God. This victory is for all Ghanaians. It is for every Ghanaian who believed in our shared vision to reset our dear nation Ghana and build a nation that we all desire. It is a testament that when the righteous stand in faith and prayer, when a nation turns to God in hope, he answers them. The Bible reminds us in Proverbs 21:31 that the horse is made ready for the day of battle, but the victory belongs to the Lord. Indeed, we fought a good fight, but it is God who has given us the victory. But beyond celebration, this victory carries a very solemn responsibility. The responsibility to lead with integrity, to govern with wisdom, and to serve with humility. I do not take this responsibility lightly. I recognize that leadership is a divine calling, and I'm fully committed to fulfilling the mandate that has been entrusted to me by the people of Ghana.
We're watching the JoyNews Room. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more. Welcome back. Now, Special Prosecutor Kingsley Agyeman has fired back at critics calling for the dissolution of the office of the Special Prosecutor over alleged ineffectiveness. The OSP has faced mounting public backlash in recent years for failing to secure a single corruption conviction, with some demanding its immediate abolition. But speaking at the Constitution Day public lecture at the Elisa Hotel, Agyeman urged caution against such calls, emphasizing the need for deeper reflection on the office's relevance and role in fighting corruption.
You would recall that the prevailing thinking was that the Attorney General, being a member of Cabinet and the Chief Legal Advisor to the President, was not well suited to investigate and prosecute members of a government to which he belonged. And after decades of contemplation and experimentation, we created the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, as a flagship anti-corruption institution with a unique fourfold mandate of investigating corruption and corruption-related cases, prosecuting suspected offenders, recovering and managing assets, and taking steps to prevent corruption. The advent of the OSP, once again you would recall, was forged in immense controversy. Let me take you back to the 2016 presidential elections. Corruption and corruption-related issues were rather topical during that campaign season, owing to the ever-present, unexplainable and questionable acquisition of wealth in all sectors. The opposition candidate hopped on to the anti-corruption train with a bouquet of promises. He promised them to adopt the Anas method in fighting corruption, in reference to the style employed by Ghana's foremost investigative journalist Anas Arimia Anas of naming, shaming, and jailing.
Kingsley Agyeman held nothing back, criticizing successive government, especially the administration that created the OSP, for their lack of commitment to fighting corruption.
The effect of the existential challenge confronting the OSP is that though the nation collectively acknowledges that we must fight corruption, yet there is also a specter that the flagship agency designed, even if imperfectly, to fight corruption is not needed and should be disbanded, while others actively undermine it and its principal officers. This has translated into a rather curious cycle. First, the outburst of an outcry when the OSP acts, and an outcry when it is seen as not acting. It is as if we do not know what we want. The situation in Ghana now is, and I stated this earlier, we must fight corruption, but we must not fight corruption. That is our state now. It all depends on where we stand in respect of an investigation.
Away from that, the Center for Strategic Philanthropy and Social Investment of Pentecost University, Philanthropy Ghana, and the Multimedia Group have signed a memorandum of understanding to expand the JoyNews Impact Makers Awards. This partnership aims to broaden the scope of the awards while amplifying stories of philanthropy within the global philanthropy ecosystem. JoyNews' Elsie Asiedu witnessed the signing ceremony and has more in this report.
The new partnership among three key organizations, Center for Strategic Philanthropy and Social Investment at Pentecost University, Philanthropy Ghana, and the multimedia groups JoyNews, aims to expand the reach and impact of the JoyNews Impact Makers Awards. The Memorandum of Understanding will foster greater collaboration in media philanthropy, amplify global philanthropy stories, and strengthen international networks. Speaking to JoyNews at the signing ceremony, board chairman of SEPSI, Apostle Dr. Christian Chekbo, emphasized the significance of the partnership.
We have met to sign MOUs so that we can work in partnership with one another to see how we can support each other and grow philanthropy, not only in Ghana, but in the whole of the West Africa sub-region. And we think that is an important event because it's going to determine the future of many young people and even institutions in Ghana and Africa. Is going to determine development projects. We know that there are many young people who have skills, they have ideas.
The collaboration marks a major step in recognizing and empowering thousands of selfless Ghanaians who dedicate their lives to transforming their communities and driving national development. MFA Atiamwa Eli, coordinator for strategic partnerships and projects at Joy Brands, expressed optimism about the future of the award scheme, citing the alliance as a catalyst for growth and increased impact. Representing the multimedia group, General Manager of Joy Brand, Francis Fifi Kumsen, and Channel Manager for JoyNews, Kweku Owusu-Pepra, signed the MOU. Signing on behalf of the Pentecost University SEPSI were Board Chairman Apostle Dr. Christian Chekbo and Acting Director Reverend Emmanuel Mafo. Madam Yaira Atiso, Executive Director of Philanthropy Ghana, also signed on behalf of her organization. Additionally, the Melton Foundation, another key player in the philanthropy space, signed a separate agreement with SEPSI. The foundation was represented by Eric Ni Ayente Odonko.
Well, that's all we have for you on today's edition of Joy Newsroom with me, Razak Musbah. We've got more stories for you on myjoyonline.com. Thank you very much for your company.